Hi, friends. Your body always knows before your brain catches up. Don't you find that? In today's episode with Banya Lim, we talk about intuition, emotional healing, and what can happen when you get quiet and start listening to what your body's been trying to tell you. And if you're suffering from hot flashes, be sure to stay until the end for Banya's surprising advice. It's quite eye opening. This episode is sponsored by Grand Teton Ancient Grains. If you love grains, pasta, and fresh baked goods, but you want the healthiest versions possible, give them a try. They grow and mill flour, pasta, and ancient grains like einkorn, millet, and corazon right on their family farm without pesticides, herbicides, or glyphosate. And because their soil is rich in nutrients, their products are packed with flavor and nutrition. And many people find einkorn easier to digest than modern wheat. Upgrade your pantry with thoughtfully grown food at ancientgrains.com. Get free shipping when you fill a box. You can find that information in the show notes. And if you're looking for recipes that are plant-based, oil-free, and delicious, head over to wellelephant.com after the show and download my free cookbook. Check out my online class, Ace Plant-Based Eating, while you're there, if you're serious about reversing disease like I did. The class won't be around for much longer. Now, here's Banya Lim. I'm Lauren Bernick, helping you make the rest of your life the best of your life. Welcome to Age Like a Badass Mother. Banya Lim has been a spiritual acupuncturist and energy coach for the past 30 years. She developed a unique approach to unlocking the body's wisdom called the Chi Mastery System. This transformative program empowers individuals to listen to their bodies, clear energetic blockages, and achieve their personal and professional goals. Please welcome Banya Lim. Hello.
Hello, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy to know you. Um, so where do you live right now? Where are you living?
I live in Sedona, Arizona.
Wow. That's
Have you been
some
here?
sort of like energetic place, right?
Yeah, this is the epicenter of all the woo-woo that's happening
Oh
to the spirituality and UFOs and so on. I
my gosh. Have you seen a UFO?
think I've seen it. There's like UFO tour. There are many like activities here. You can go check
But
out.
have you personally seen a UFO?
I believe that what I was looking at was definitely not a plane. And yes, I would say that was UFO.
I mean, honestly, there's more and more talk about it from, really mainstream people. It's kind of gotten to the point where like people are like, yeah. I mean, who are we to think we're not alone?
No,
Uh,
or even on a governmental level. So we'll see what happens, what kind of
yeah.
information comes out.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mhm.
So can you tell me what is the difference between a spiritual acupuncturist and just a regular old acupuncturist?
Well, spiritual acupuncture is the actual traditional way of doing acupuncture. My mom was an acupuncturist who was amazing one. And she always talked about how acupuncture has been practiced in ancient times. And it was infused with spiritual practice to trying to open up our energy channel to reach enlightenment. It wasn't only about taking care of the physical elements, but it was very much part of a spiritual practice. And she felt that that spiritual part has been lost in modern acupuncture in modern acupuncture practice. So she always trying to bring that back. So when I started practicing my own work, I decided to call spiritual acupuncture by honoring my mom, and what she has instilled in me, and also trying to bring back this um, mind, body, spirit of true way of doing acupuncture, true way of practicing, also people to receive.
Well, that's beautiful. And so when you were a child, like did your mother see like patients or people in the house? Like were you around it as a child?
Yes, she and I both are like sort of like reluctant acupuncturists. We're trying to do something different in our lives. I think acupuncture and healer, it's in our blood. Kind of always drawn to that. My mom was a teacher, just an English and German teacher in Korea, and I remember as a teacher, when she come back from home, we have a line of people in a doorstep, people trying to see her, not only as an acupuncturist, but as an intuitive also. And I didn't really understand what was going on at the time. I was trying to assist her as much as I can. Then eventually she realized
Mm.
that was her calling. She has to do it. So she decided to do a more spiritual work and also acupuncture at the time. Then eventually we moved to United States in 1980, and I came here in
Oh, wow.
1984.
In 1980,
She came in
you said?
1979, 1980. I moved here in 1984.
Oh, wow. That's hard. You were separated from her for a while.
Yes, about
That's
5 years or
difficult.
so. Mhm.
Oh, wow. That must have been quite was it a big shock to you when you moved here how old were you? Teenager? 12,
Yes.
10?
Yes, I was, 15. Definitely. Everything it was definitely completely different world for me. And plus, and I didn't speak the language, so, I had a hard time going to school, understanding, and just even socializing. But that was then, and over the years I've learned. I went to school, college and grad school, and made friends. But it was definitely a hard time. Mhm.
Yeah, I can't even imagine, but that probably gives you a lot of tools also to, cope. I mean, you always learn out of those hard experiences. Do you have any things that you feel like you really learned or lessons you really learned because you couldn't speak the language or it was tough to communicate or
Learned, I guess this is something I've learned too, but definitely strongest experience is that I was a very good student back in Korea. I was always a top 3 or 5 in whole school, and I was academically very good. But when I moved here, since I didn't understand the language, I couldn't really study. And also, people perceive me strangely, and they also thought that there was something wrong with me. But I just couldn't understand what people were saying. So, not only I couldn't follow the schoolwork, but also I couldn't really communicate with the people. People would treat me like someone special, like special student. And that was a very strange and interesting experience for me, from place that doing academically very well to coming to a place that you really couldn't follow its schoolwork because of the language barrier.
yeah, I imagine that was very difficult. Well, so let's skip ahead to I guess at some point in your life, things were kind of falling apart for you and you went through some really hard times. And I guess that's probably how you developed your program. But can you take us back and kind of tell the story of that difficult time and what ensued from that?
Hmm. So I came from many healers within my family, especially my mom and my mother's side. So I have all this information. But when I actually went going through stuff, that's when I really delve into it and trying to figure out what to do and also trying to heal myself. And through that
What
experience,
was wrong with you?
I had depression, and I had lot of gastrointestinal issues. It started as a IBS, then turned into ulcerative colitis, to the point that I had so much inflammation in my intestines that I really couldn't process anything. And yeah, my body really couldn't digest anything, absorb any nutrient. And I remember I was like white as a ghost during that time. That this was when I was in grad school.
You just kind of reminded me we had a guest on not too long and she was talking about healing your gut to heal your anxiety. I imagine that's the same thing with your depression, right?
Right, right. I didn't really have any information at the time. I decided to um just implement whatever I learned on myself. So one of the first two things that I did was meditation and movement. Meditation was basic. I came from a Buddhist background. A lot of Buddhist meditation I started doing it. I did start doing it very deeply every day, and it started in my college and continue on. And second one, I remember I came from a martial arts family. All my whole family are martial artists, and we used to have martial arts school in New York City, 2 blocks away from Madison Square Garden. And when I move my body after the movement, which means after exercise, I could really feel the shift in my energy, and my gut start to feel get better. So I decided to implement this too, meditating every day, doing regular exercise. At the time, I did taekwondo and hapkido. And eventually, I also incorporated some qigong exercise as well. And I remember this is like a pivotal moment. I think through a lot focus on trying to having awareness within my body, awareness of what's going on, and through deep meditation, I think it came into the point of this like sort of like a realization. I remember I went to this restaurant looking at the menu on the board. I realized I keep choosing this one specific emotion over and over the years. You know, when you have a menu, you have a lot of different things on the board. But when you are depressed, at least for me, I realize I keep choosing this emotion over and over. And then I realize I have this array of different things that I can experience. Not only that, I can choose to experience. I know this is such a, in a way, simple concept, but for me, it was just such a big revelation. Like, oh, I can choose to feel differently. I can choose to have different thoughts. I can choose to have a different emotion. And from then on, I remember like I could literally feel my body shifting and changing from that point on. So I continued doing deeper meditation. I did continuously kind of feeling the energy within my body. Within 3 months or so, many of my symptoms disappeared. And maybe perhaps it took another 2 months or so. I no longer had those conditions.
So when you were not feeling well, when you were depressed, when you couldn't eat, when you were having stomach issues, you said to yourself, I guess consciously, I have to change. I know my family does a lot of movement and that's good for you, and I know meditation is good for you. So like you just intuitively chose those things and then kind of started getting better and just kept going with that. And then I
Me
guess
encouraged by
you're
my mom.
saying the menu. Oh, so go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, and then from there, you said you saw the menu in the restaurant and you realized like, oh, I can pick and choose. Like on a menu, I can pick and choose other emotions or other ways to feel. Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to summarize, like, and make sure I understand.
Yes, absolutely. All those things are like something that I've heard from my mom, actually. Based on acupuncture, each emotion is connected to each organ, and each organ is kind of spread out throughout the body. Like this is the lung meridian, this is large intestine meridians, and so on, or energy channels within the body. But when you have a specific emotion over and over, it ended up creating blockages in the channel or the meridian. And if that goes long enough, it can turn into something much more serious. So over the year, I hear all these things from my mom. When I finally start putting attention in my body through meditation, those things start to make sense on a like all level, physical level, emotional level, but also conceptually, I got it.
Yeah. So I guess you're saying that your energy was blocked. Was your gut energy blocked? Is that, can you explain a little bit about the meridians? And don't forget that most people are listening. Some will watch on YouTube, but can you kind of explain about the meridians and the blockages and what's associated with what?
What acupuncture does, and the purpose of acupuncture is finding those specific points within the body that's blocked and trying to unblock it with the needle so energy can flow uh, evenly throughout the body. We believe, based on Oriental medicine, The health is based on the movement and easy flow of we call qi within the body. When the energy gets blocked or gets stuck, that's when you start to have ailments and disease within the body. So acupuncture is
And
trying to
chi is energy.
chi is
Chi
energy, and
is energy, right? Okay.
yes,
So I'm
she
sorry,
has
keep going.
called in many different word in many different cultures and countries. Some place call it prana, some call it even God or Holy Ghost, you name it. But energy is what we call a life force within the body. So that's the purpose of acupuncture. And how the energy gets blocked within the body, basically through, so like I said, each meridian, so there are energy moving through our body following this pathway, and there are 365 main acupuncture points in the body, the 65,
Oh,
and each
wow.
point is connected to each day in a year, and also based on your date of birth, the month and year. Also, I could prescribe uh, the treatment too. Not always. Sometimes they can be also very, very powerful because we come into this world with a certain specific energy. It's not only nurture, but we believe in nature. That we come into this world with star, moons, Jupiter, Mars, and align, and affects our energy in a specific way. So each meridian is connected to each organ, and each organ is connected to specific emotion. For example, liver is a wood energy. That based on five, acupuncture is guided by two major theories: yin and yang theory and five element theories. Five elements: wood, fire, metal, and so on. And based on those elements, each organ is connected to it, and each organ has a connection to a specific emotion. So wood organ is liver and gallbladder. And liver and gallbladder's emotion is anger. When you have excessive anger or long periods of anger, experience of anger, will start damage liver and gallbladder. And liver and gallbladder meridians runs side of the body bilaterally. I'm trying to explain this in a very simple way. Runs side
Yes,
of the body.
please.
And Qigong, Tai Chi, and martial arts are based on opening these meridians. When in ancient time, when they move their body in a certain way, they realize, oh, wait a minute, this is opening the lung meridians. Whoa, when I twist the arm this way, I'm opening a liver meridians, and so on. So let's go with the example of wood. Wood's organs are liver and gallbladder. Liver and gallbladder emotion is anger. This is why when you have excessive anger, it will damage the liver and gallbladder, but also you'll feel it in your body, specifically on the side of the body. This is why this is sort of like a universal gesture. When someone put their hands on the side, putting your head like this,
Like on
you
your hips.
you can, hips of the side. You know the person who coming at you like that. You know that the person is not necessarily happy with you. The reason we put our
That's
hands on the
true.
yes is because we're trying to unconsciously trying to protect the meridians because that meridian gets blocked. And then
Oh,
and
wow.
I can go on with the other examples with
Yeah,
the other.
can you tell the other organs and what they relate to? Because I find this fascinating.
And the water is another element. Water's organs are kidneys and bladder. Their emotion is fear. This is why some people are under a lot of fear. They wet their pants. You know, I remember one of the actors that I work with. She said she had to go and pee. It activates the organs when you have a lot of fear. This is why you end up going to bathroom or peeing a lot. And the meridians runs the back when they're next to the spine. So when you're really scared, you sometimes say, I have a chill going down my spine. And I ask people, where do you think that the word come from? And I'm sure we can trace back to where the uh, history of that word. The reason is that we are feeling it. And when you say to people, people understand what that means. I really believe a lot of things that we say, a lot of sayings and proverbs are based on what we're feeling on the body.
Yes, I think you're right. And then what else? What about the other elements and
Um,
organs?
sadness. Sadness, its element is metal, and their organs are lungs and large intestines. So when you are sad, like for example, when you lose your loved ones, oftentimes people get sick or catch cold very quickly and easily. At the same time, your large intestine, because liver, lungs and large intestines are yin and yang pair, they go hand in hand, and oftentimes it affect your bowel movement. You could have diarrhea or constipations or so on. But let's talk about lungs in connection to sadness. Um, lungs starts from right below the collarbone, right here. When people have a lot of sadness in their life, and especially people who have depression, which was a case with me, I remember people always commented on my posture. I don't have that old posture anymore, but people always tell me, "Why are you so hunched down?" The reason was because this point or this meridian, lung meridians were blocked at the time. And when lungs are also connected to skin, and a lot of skin issues actually come from that emotion as well. Just by releasing and working through this specific emotion, physical part just heal itself, which I have witnessed so many times in my life, starting with my own case. So what else is there?
Well, I just find that really interesting because I have a friend who's going through lung cancer right now, and she has spoken out about that you hold your grief in your lungs. And she's had a lot of grief and sadness in her life. And so not only is she going through, treatment for cancer, but she's going through a lot of, um, emotional treatment as well to heal her grief. And so I just know if anybody doesn't believe in a mind body connection, just, simple things like what you were talking about earlier, when you get really nervous, you have to you sometimes have diarrhea or you throw up or, I mean, you can feel it. Like you said, there's definitely the mind body connection. It's so real, and your body keeps track of what's going on, whether you want to deal with it or not. So I love this talk. Okay, keep going.
Yeah.
What else is
Thank
there?
you. Thank you for making them known. Incredible. I always to say our body is the most honest thing that we have. Our body is the most honest thing that we have in our life. You know, no matter how much you try to hide certain emotion, your body still responds. And you just
Yeah.
secretly notice it. No matter how much you're trying to hide how embarrassed you are, your face still turn red. No matter how much you're trying to hide your nervousness, your hands get clammy.
And
And when
shake.
or shake.
Yeah.
When we get to really pay attention and learn the cues that our body is telling us and giving us, we're gonna have much more awareness about ourselves, also others, but eventually the earth. Because Oriental medicine acupuncture is very much about learning about the earth itself, not only about, we said, 5 elements. There are 365 acupuncture points that match with the 365 days in a year. There are 12 meridians, major meridians in the body that matches with the 12 months in a year. There's sun, moon, star, everything. There's a correlation to what's going on within the body. So knowing ourselves is truly about knowing the universe. Knowing of ourselves truly means knowing about other people. So this journey is really about this discovery of the cosmos. But we are the cosmos. We are the microcosm of what everything going on in the world. We have been trying to find out answers, trying to go to the moon, now go to the Mars, and we are trying to explore everything else. But I really believe if you go there, the arrow is going to point it at you. And I feel that more and more people are realizing that, and which is amazing trend. And I think this interest is going to get stronger and stronger as time goes. So I lost track of what we are talking about earlier, but
Did we go through all the organs
okay.
and the elements?
So the fire, by the way, when I say 5 element and emotion, not only emotion, 5 element affects everything: direction, taste, color, um, organ. It applies to everything. So if you want to learn more, information is out there. If anybody want to learn more, I would say just go to Google, put 5 element chart based on acupuncture. You will get a whole list of things. Right
Oh,
now, I'm
that's
only
great.
talking
Thank
about
you.
Yes, right now I'm only talking about emotion, but also direction as well. If you want to work on, if you let's talk about what's in organs of liver and gallbladder. Its emotion is anger, and the taste is sour, and direction is east. It's a base of a feng shui, by the way. So
Yeah,
one funny example: if someone has liver gallbladder issue, check their east side of the house. Their east side of the house is always messy.
really.
So if you want a healthy liver gallbladder, clean out your east side and see what happens.
Wow. What are the other ones for that? I love feng shui. I think it's so, I mean, you don't have to be a genius to know that your environment affects how you feel, period.
Absolutely.
You know? And I've have feng shuied my house by myself, like just reading books and done it. And like, I know, I forget, like my office is, I think it's Southeast. And I on purpose had, I think you're supposed to have, isn't your office supposed to be Southeast? Or I just remember putting my office in a specific area on purpose, like where it was supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Um,
space we occupy affects our energy, and our energy affects everything that's around us. And the location and displacement and the color, material, yeah, all affects our energy and our consciousness.
it's incredible. Okay. So I think you were doing fire now,
Okay.
fire emotion.
Fire organs are heart and pericardium, and its emotion is, they say, joy. But it's about understanding joy. Based on 5 element theory, it, i- it it's unhealthy to have anything excessive. So it's about managing and also understanding joy. So heart and fire the location is south. But if you want to work on joy, if you feel like you need more joy in your life, go to the south side of your house and see what's going on there. And put a little flower. And the fire element's color is red, understandably, right? And so putting some kind of live red, usually red flower would be a good idea to put in that space and just see what happens. I always tell people, just experiment, just try. And always people come back to me with amazing, sometimes crazy stories.
I love that. Okay, did we finish all of them?
So
Because
we did metal, we did water? Yeah, we did kidneys and
yeah,
bladder,
kidneys.
and
Mhm.
we did wood,
Fire,
we did fire,
wood,
earth.
earth.
Earth is
Okay.
the last one. Earth is very, very interesting because this is something that we all dealt with. Earth organs are stomach and spleen, and their emotion is worry. When you worry, the reason that we have digestive issues sometimes, when we excessively worry, it affects our digestion, which is something I'm sure everyone experienced. Cannot say that they haven't experienced that. You can feel like it's like, just like, just doesn't feel right. And you know it because you're worrying about this test, whatever that might be. And its color is yellow. And it's good to balance your energy with the color of yellow. And also its direction is center, the center of the house.
And so is it good to have something yellow in the center of the house?
Yes, yes. I'm explaining this in a very simple way, but also I suggest everyone to go check out Google and look for 5 element charts that's based on acupuncture. You're going to have a whole list of direction, color, shape, organ, you name it.
Thank you for explaining that. I know that we took up a lot of time doing that, but I think it was, to me, it was very interesting. And so, is this what your chi mastery system is based on, or how did you develop this system? And how do you help people heal and unblock?
And this is basis of it, but it's a combination of many things that I have experienced over the years. Chi mastery is about really accessing your intuition and also trusting your instinct. But also, I also do guided coaching on and based on somatic work and meditation. Over the years, experiencing my practice and also being an acupuncturist, I knew what my mom was trying to say. We have to bring back this old ancient spiritual aspect of acupuncture, which is treating people mind, body, and spirit, not just the body. We are made out of mind, body, spirit. It's not just a hair, bone, and skin. We are much more than just that, because each person's body is the microcosm of the universe. We are the universe. That means we have to honor them, but we have to guide them to honor themselves. And through that, people can not develop, because intuition is already there, understanding their own intuition to guide themselves. When you get to listen to your own intuition, when you get to listen to your own wisdom of the body, you will start heal yourself. When you wake up in the morning, you don't know why you open up the closet and you get drawn to this green shirt that you never wear, but you just want to wear that and you put it on. The reason was that your body intuitively said, like, this is the most harmonious color for you because you are angry last night and you're still carrying on within your body. Anger is what I said, connected to liver gallbladder, wood, and emotion is liver gallbladder is anger. And when we get to guide ourselves to just follow whatever that intuition hits that give us, we just flow through our lives, not going against the stream. And then our rational mind might kick in. You don't wear green. People's going to think that you're crazy. That's not your color. So as long as we get to shut down this left side of the brain once in a while, then you understand things much, much deeper. And also, I don't know why, but I would like to try this sour dish. And you just want to do it. You just want to try it. It's all coming from this body wisdom, body awareness, body intuition. And listening to that is everything. Listening to that opens up everything. And honoring that is beginning of the journey. And this is something I believe we haven't learned as children, especially in Western culture. If something happens or if you have any questions, nobody told us to listen to our body. And this
Yeah.
is something that I'm really honored that my mom did that for me. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's good that your mom told you to listen to your body and that you got to see that. And I think that maybe when we're little, we do listen to our bodies,
Yeah.
but that kind of gets trained out of us as we get older, like don't act that way, or don't be cranky, don't cry, don't have a bad attitude, all those things where we are sad and we want to cry and then we're told don't cry, and those kinds of things. And so how do we relearn that, or relearn to listen to our bodies and have that awareness?
I like how you describe that as a trained out of us.
Hmm.
Yes, it's something that we know intuitively as children, but it eventually trained out of us by society, teachers, and parents. So we have to retrain back into that. And it's always good to start with having a relationship with yourself. And I call meditation as having a relationship with ourselves. Oftentimes when I start teaching people meditation, people complain about, like, Banya, I have a monkey mind. I cannot sit down and just close my eyes. And then when I ask them, just think about having a relationship with yourself. You and you are sitting on a sofa, just sitting across from each other and just having an energy dialogue. And in the beginning, a lot of thoughts might come in. Then we start asking why. why is such a powerful question. If something going on in our body, it's indication of something that we need to look at. It's not something to avoid, but it's something to work with and something to work for. It's a stepping stone. It's a portal. If you have a relationship with issue, you have a relationship with money. If you have you have a reaction to your neighbor, whatever that might be going on, it's not an issue. It's not issues. It's portal for us to go to our next level and ask question. Okay, instead of going into that energy, ask why. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I
Yeah.
reacting?
Yeah.
We
Why
don't.
am I having a problem with my neighbor? Why am I having digestive problems? Why am I triggered by, this situation? Like, why? And then to meditate on it and listen to yourself. Is that the next step? Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
and I believe that's how my healing journey started too, back 20 to 2000, asking myself question, okay, why am I having this issue? And I just throw the question. Of course, I didn't get any answers. I feel like I didn't get any answers in the beginning. Just sat down with it and kept asking and asking and asking. And I felt this direct correlation from how I feel emotionally to how my body feels. And deeper part was, my issue was all in the intestine, large intestines. And earlier, what did I say about the large intestines and lungs? The sadness.
Sadness or, yeah.
Yes, yes. I had a lot of sadness in my life. And since I was young, it's all throughout my life. And that's something that I avoid by my body wasn't avoiding it because it's all there, sitting there. And when I start asking questions, I start to navigate into where it actually come from. So when you start to have awareness, that's beginning of healing. A lot of times
Hmm.
we try to avoid what we are feeling and what's going on within us.
Do you think that I've had several guests kind of touch on this. Do you think that when we go through menopause and we get these hot flashes, is that something that our body's communicating? What if so, what is it communicating?
When we have a hot flash, of course, our temperature rises, and then you start, you get hot and start um, sometimes just sweating. I had some of my clients, and hot flash was really, really bad, and she was in her 70s. She was still going through with that. It's imbalance of, we call it yin and yang, and we have to nourish the yin. There's too much yang within the body. And there's actually very specific way to heal this on a physical level too, but on unconscious, a deeper level, each person's dealing with it, their own things separately. But on a physical level, it can be quite easy to treat with acupuncture and herbs.
Okay, so can you? I think a lot of people are familiar with yin and yang, but can you tell us what's out of balance? So it's needs to be treated maybe with acupuncture and herbs, but kind of tell us what's going on, what the
So
imbalance is.
everything in the world is either yin or yang. What is yin and yang? It's contradicting and also counterbalancing, and one cannot exist without the other. Yin energy is more subdued, quiet, and colder. It's not bad. It's just the energy. Yang is more active, bright, and yin energy is has more of feminine energy, where yang energy has more masculine energy. I noticed the people who suffer from menopause, and we all do on some degree. I'm going through it with it right now myself. They haven't figured out the way of balancing this feminine and masculine energy within themselves.
Interesting.
So yin energy is a feminine energy, and that's area that need to be nurtured the more. But oftentimes we go to the opposite. We're trying to make it happen. And that's more of yang energy. Yin energy is more, we allow it to happen. We allow it to happen, we flow and we become more intuitive with the things that we do, things that we decide. But starting from just honoring that yin energy, starting from just honoring that softness and gentleness and that femininity that's within you. And oftentimes people who are suffering a lot of this imbalance, oftentimes they have been kind of pushing themselves a lot throughout their lives.
Yeah. I think you're right. And so you said before we started, I think you told me you're 56, is that right?
Yes.
And you're like me, going through menopause kind of late. And so eh, did you suffer a lot with symptoms from menopause, or are you
No,
suffering?
no, I mean, I actually wanted to done with the cycle and period many years ago. I didn't want to deal with that, but it still continue on. I think we are one of few people still having in late in our lives. But as far as the symptoms, no, I had a little bit of
Yeah,
heart.
me either. I'm not really having either.
Mhm.
And so um and so that's what you recommend, like getting quiet, listening to yourself, and then maybe doing some acupuncture and herbs. What kind of herbs do you recommend?
I only know this I'm in Chinese pinyin. It's called Li Wei Di Huang Wan. You can find this in Amazon, believe it or not. And actually,
Okay.
that's a very nourishing herbal formula, and it's a
Okay.
very old classical herbal formula that have been used in Asia hundreds of
Okay.
years.
Maybe you can send that to me and I can put that in the show notes,
Sure.
if people want to check that out.
Right.
Okay. So, and then where can people find out more about your Chi Mastery program?
They can go to my website, banyalim.com.
Okay. I'll put that in the show notes too. Banyalim.com. Lim. And so I usually ask at the end, what's your best piece of advice for aging well? You're clearly doing a good job.
That's best piece of advice of aging well. Interesting questions. First thing that come to my mind is our body is aging, but our consciousness isn't. And this is just one part of our journey. Eventually we'll move on. But if you simply put it, body is aging, but our consciousness isn't.
What can you explain a little more what you mean by that? Your consciousness isn't.
Because there's no age in our consciousness, but we can get lost in just the physical part.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's interesting. I guess I haven't. So, I mean, I guess you're kind of saying that we are all ageless, right? I mean, as humans, we're all ageless. Is that
Mm-hmm.
kind of what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, thank you. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that that you wish that you wanted to talk about, or did we
Um,
cover all of it?
we can talk about a lot of things for hours or days. But I would like to offer your audience free one-on-one clarity sessions with me, so they can go to my website to sign
Okay.
up for it.
Okay, a free clarity session. Okay. I'll put that in the show notes too. Um, I do have one last question, because I also usually ask this, and you've talked a lot about your mother, and she seems like she's a very wise person. What is she still alive?
No, she passed away
No,
last
she's
year.
transitioned. Ah, me too. My mom too. Um, what did you what did you learn from watching your mother age?
What did I learn from watching my mom age?
Yeah, from her long life or her life.
Everything around her and everything about her and my experience with that was all about love. This is like blanket of love, that how she has this blanket of love that she has put on earth for us and for my brothers, and I think that became our sustenance, and I'm realizing that now more than ever.
Beautiful.
For me to be who I am, for me to do the work that I'm doing, and for me to just continue. yeah, that is my sustenance, and I'm grateful.
That's so beautiful. You're very lucky to have a mother like that, Banya. I'm happy for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry you lost her, but that's beautiful. What a legacy too, and that you're kind of continuing her work. That's beautiful. Well, I loved our conversation. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Lauren.
Okay, take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, friend. From my heart to yours, be well until we meet again.